sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today, we're going to be breaking down the buzz surrounding Russell Westbrook, specifically his performance in the Kings-Nuggets game. And we've got, all sorts of stuff to look at today. We've got some tweets, a news article, and even some interesting analytical data. So
it's like a good mix.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think what's really fascinating here, is that we're seeing Westbrook in this new context, right?
Yeah.
With the Nuggets. And this isn't just about one game. I think it's about how his role and perception are kind of evolving.
It really is bigger than just this one game.
Yeah.
So just to set the stage, right? Westbrook, he put up 18 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, while shooting 8 for 18 from the field in 32 minutes. And for those who followed Westbrook's career, some of those numbers might spark a little bit of a debate.
Definitely. I think the efficiency really stands out to me. Westbrook has faced a lot of criticism for his shot selection in the past. So seeing him go 8 for 18 is a good sign, that he's, finding his rhythm within the Nuggets system.
Yeah, it seems like instead of forcing shots, he's finding a way to really just fit into that offense. But let's see if the fans agree with us. One tweet that caught my eye said, "They wrote Russ off, but he didn't write back." I love that.
Oh, I love that.
There's a lot to unpack there.
It speaks to that that comeback narrative, right? Yeah. That's so compelling in sports. Fans just love to see a player overcome adversity, and especially one as polarizing as Westbrook. I think that's something that really resonates.
Yeah, and you see that sentiment echoed in another tweet that highlights his record as a starter for the Nuggets, right?
Yeah.
18 wins and only 5 losses. Is that a coincidence, or is Westbrook really that driving force behind those wins?
It's hard to ignore, right?
It's pretty good.
That win-loss record, I think it suggests that at the very least, he's contributing to a winning formula in Denver.
Yeah, for sure. And it gets even more interesting when you factor in this stat. The Nuggets are plus 21.4 points per 100 possessions when Jokic, Porter Jr., and Westbrook are all on the floor together.
Yeah.
Now, for anyone who's not familiar with that stat, that essentially means that when those three are playing, they're outscoring their opponents by a huge margin. Like, that is a very significant number.
Right. And what's so fascinating is that it makes sense when you think about their skill sets, right?
Yeah.
You've got Jokic, who's just this brilliant passer. You've got Porter Jr., who can score from anywhere. And then you add Westbrook's ability to drive to the basket, create chaos. It's a dynamic that's tough to defend.
You're totally right. It's like each player brings something unique to the table, and together they create this like powerhouse trio. Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, is this the best version of Westbrook that we've ever seen? There's a tweet from a fan that says, "I am so happy for Russell Westbrook, man. Even though he's with the ops, he is happy and playing nice again." And I love that sentiment. What do you make of it?
I think it highlights how much a change of scenery, a different team dynamic can really impact a player's performance and even their perception, publicly.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much context matters, right?
Yes,
it's not just about the stats, it's about the narrative, the team culture, the overall fit.
Exactly.
And this is where I think things get really interesting, because we have to ask ourselves, like, is this success sustainable? Is this the start of, like, a whole new chapter for Westbrook, or is this just a temporary, upswing? Okay, before we get into that, I think we have to address the elephant in the room, the tweet that boldly claims Russell Westbrook is top 5 point guards of all time, and it's not debatable. I have to admit, that's a pretty spicy take.
Oh, that's a spicy one. That's definitely going to spark some debate among NBA fans for sure. Yeah. But you know what? Ranking players is so subjective.
It really is.
It depends on your criteria, your era, your own personal preferences. But it's a fun thought experiment. Where would you rank Westbrook among all-time point guards?
Oh, I'm staying out of that debate.
Fair enough.
But I think it highlights the passion that surrounds Westbrook, right? He's a player who evokes such strong reactions, both positive and negative.
And that's what makes him such a compelling figure in the NBA. He's never been one to shy away from the spotlight. Yeah. And his journey has been, it's been full of twists and turns.
Yeah, speaking of his journey, I think it's time to maybe shift gears a little bit and delve into that news article that you mentioned earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
It provides, a bit more context, I think, about the Kings-Nuggets game and Westbrook's role within the team.
Yeah, it does. The article, it highlights that, Westbrook is now starting regularly for the Nuggets.
Right.
And that's, I think, a pretty significant development.
It is. And it even says that it seems like starting is becoming like a more permanent situation for Westbrook in Denver.
Yeah.
So what does that tell us about how the coach views him?
Well, I think it shows a certain level of trust in Westbrook's abilities and in his fit within the team system. Remember that win-loss record we were talking about? I think the coach is seeing some positive results with Westbrook in that starting role.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the article also mentions that the Nuggets are currently on a 4-game winning streak. So it's not just about Westbrook's individual performance, It's about how he's contributing to the team's overall success.
Absolutely. And that's always been the key question with Westbrook, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Can he be a part of a championship caliber team?
Right.
Can he elevate those around him while still playing his own game?
Yeah.
It's a tricky balance.
It's a fascinating question, and one that I think we're going to continue to explore as we dive deeper into the rest of the source material.
For sure.
Yeah, it really is. And speaking of championship caliber, that article also mentioned that impressive stat about the Nuggets' performance, when Jokic, Porter Jr., and Westbrook are all sharing the court, plus 21.4 points per 100 possessions.
Wow.
That's a dominant trio.
Absolutely. Yeah, that stat, I think, tells us that, they're not just playing well individually, but their styles actually complement each other really well.
Right.
You think about it, Jokic kind of orchestrates the offense, Porter Jr. provides that scoring punch, and then Westbrook adds another dimension with his, explosiveness and ability to attack the basket.
Yeah.
It creates a real challenge for opposing teams to defend,
Yeah, it's like they have an answer for every defensive scheme.
Right.
And then there are moments where, you see those flashes of the classic Westbrook, the fearless player who's not afraid to take risks,
Yep.
One tweet that made me chuckle said, "Russ just got a steal and airballed a 3. This might be the Russell Westbrook experience they're talking about."
Classic Russ.
It seems like even in a great performance, there's that element of unpredictability that's always there.
Like, that's what makes him so captivating to watch, I think.
Yeah.
He keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, yeah.
Even when he's playing within a system, there's still that underlying intensity and that willingness to just make the unexpected play.
Right. He's definitely not afraid to take those high-risk, high-reward shots,
For sure.
It's part of what makes him so exciting. But let's step back for a second and look at Westbrook's performance through the lens of, his entire career. He's been a polarizing figure, an MVP, a triple-double machine, but also, a target of criticism.
Yeah.
How do you think this stint with the Nuggets is shaping his legacy?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, is this a turning point, or is this just another chapter in a complex career?
Right.
What's interesting is that we are seeing him adapt, right?
Yeah.
He's sharing the ball. He's making smarter decisions. He's seemingly embracing a role that emphasizes team success over individual stats.
That's a great point. He's not just chasing triple doubles anymore.
Right.
He's playing a more mature, well-rounded game.
Yeah.
But can he sustain this level of play, especially when the pressure, ramps up in the playoffs?
That's the real test, right? I mean, the playoffs are a different beast altogether.
For sure.
The intensity's higher, the scouting's more detailed.
Yeah.
Every possession matters. We'll have to wait and see how Westbrook responds to that challenge.
And how do you think his performance this season, regardless of playoff outcomes, how do you think that impacts the narrative around him? Will it change people's perceptions of his game?
It's already shifting the conversation, I think. We're seeing more fans acknowledge his basketball IQ and his ability to adapt to different roles. But ultimately, legacies are often defined by championships.
You're right. Championships have a way of really solidifying a player's place in history.
Yeah.
So we've explored, the fan reactions, the news coverage, the statistical insights. What stands out to you as the most important takeaway from all of this?
For me, it's the evolution of Westbrook's game.
Yeah.
We're seeing him embrace a more team-oriented approach while still showcasing that that explosive athleticism that's really defined his career.
Right.
Whether this translates into championship success remains to be seen, but it's a fascinating development to watch unfold.
And what about for you? What are your thoughts on all of this?
I think it highlights the importance of context, really, in evaluating a player's career.
Okay.
You know, we can't just look at stats in isolation.
Right.
We have to consider the team dynamics, the coaching style, the overall system. And in this case, it seems like, Westbrook has found a situation that allows him to thrive, both individually and as part of a winning team.
That's a great point. It's a reminder that basketball is a team sport.
Yeah.
And individual success is often, intertwined with the success of the team. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Russell Westbrook's resurgence, what's the one question you think our listeners should ponder?
I think the question is this: can Westbrook sustain this level of play and leadership?
Okay.
And if so, what does that mean for the Nuggets' championship aspirations? It's a storyline that's far from over, and one that I'm sure will continue to generate debate and excitement throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's a question that really gets us thinking about the big picture, and looking at his entire career. He's always been a player who just, kind of defies easy categorization.
Absolutely. He's someone who's constantly evolving, pushing boundaries and challenging expectations. And I think that's what makes him so fascinating to follow.
Yeah, and it's funny because we started this deep dive, focusing on fan reactions to one single game.
Yeah.
But it's really broadened into this discussion about Westbrook's entire journey.
Yeah, that's what I love about these deep dives.
Yeah.
We never know exactly where the conversation's going to lead us.
Right.
We start with a specific point of interest, and then we just kind of follow the threads, connect the dots, and uncover those deeper layers of meaning.
Yeah, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion. Each layer revealing something new and intriguing.
Exactly.
And in Westbrook's case, there are a lot of layers to explore.
Oh, definitely. From his MVP season to his triple-double dominance to, even this recent resurgence in Denver.
Yeah.
There's a wealth of stories to tell and perspectives to consider.
And what's so interesting is that even amidst all the statistical achievements, the accolades, there's this underlying narrative about, Westbrook's personality, his intensity, his sometimes controversial style of play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. He's never been one to shy away from expressing himself on the court. And I think that's part of what makes him such a polarizing figure.
Yeah.
Some fans love that passion and that fire, while others they find it a little abrasive.
It seems like you either love him or you hate him. There's not much middle ground.
Yeah.
But I think even his biggest critics would have to admit that he's just a unique, unforgettable talent.
Absolutely. I mean, he's left an indelible mark on the NBA.
Yeah.
And as he continues to evolve and kind of redefine himself, it'll be fascinating to see how his legacy ultimately takes shape.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
We've analyzed the stats, dissected the fan reactions, and explored the broader context, I think, of Westbrook's career.
For sure.
And through it all, I think we've gained a deeper appreciation for, just the complexity of his game.
Right.
And the many factors that, contribute to his success.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listener with one final thought.
Okay.
We've seen how Westbrook has adapted his game in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Thriving in a system that, emphasizes teamwork, shared responsibility.
Right.
And this raises a really intriguing question.
Yeah.
Does this signal a shift in Westbrook's approach to the game? A willingness to prioritize winning above all else? That's a question that only time will answer. But it's certainly something to keep an eye on, as we watch the rest of the season unfold. And who knows? Maybe this new chapter in Denver leads to the ultimate prize,
Right.
An NBA championship.
That would be the ultimate validation, really, of his evolution as a player.
It would be.
But even if that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that Westbrook's journey has been and continues to be a captivating one.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another fascinating exploration.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a cup. You're a puppy dog. Show them all what